Hello guys, this is me Simu Orahara, and in this video we will talk about the 5 most powerful Shinigamis in terms of Reiatsu. My choice of this character was based on the fact that they were the ones that Kopo points at them the most when it comes to Reiatsu, or in some fight their own Reiatsu were crucial to resolving it. In fact, when I thought of the Shinigami characters that have a brutal Reiatsu as their strongest power, I only found 4 characters. There may be other characters if you wanted to make a list of more than 5, but as I said in this video, I wanted to focus only on the characters with a Reiatsu as the most prominent title of their appearance. So let's go guys. As a start, Ichigo number 5 doesn't mean that he is the least powerful in terms of Reiatsu in this list, but just because his appearance was only in a few chapters, and I didn't find many scenes in which Ichigo's Reiatsu was clearly demonstrated like the rest character of this list. However, when Ichigo fought Yamato, it was clear that he has a very strong Reiatsu, and that's through the capabilities of his Zanpakuto Ichimonji. And first and foremost, the Reiatsu, it's like the fuel of every movement the Shinigami makes. And of course, as much as the size and the nature of the ability increases, as much as the amount of the Reiatsu needed to activate it increases too. And the nature of Shikai Ichimonji confirms that. Immediately upon the release of his Shikai, any black color of any creature, whether it's a human or a soul, animal, dead or alive, becomes in his disposal along with his power. Such powers make you control such things in a very wide space, won't be activated unless you have a very powerful Reiatsu, or like Ichigo's ability to steal 100 nights from the next 1000 years of the Soul Society in order to make this great technique. All of them are destructive techniques that needs a powerful Reiatsu to be activated, so I can say that Ichigo is a Shinigami that have a destructive Reiatsu. Zaraki Kinpachi. I can say that he is the second most character in Bleach, embodying the literal meaning of the word Reiatsu in most of his fight. And the fact that Zaraki throughout the story didn't have a strong connection to his Zanpakuto, where he did not benefit from the capabilities of his Shikai or even his Bankai, and he is also one of the characters that are not good at using the Kyu technique. These were all factors that made Zaraki dependent on the Reiatsu in its raw form only. And also Zaraki is among the few characters that can influence with their Reiatsu without even clashing with the enemy. We notice how Zaraki made Ichigo, Ginjo and Hanataro freeze in their places from the excess of the Reiatsu that he was emitting. Zaraki's Reiatsu made Hanataro lose his consciousness, and Ichigo thought Zaraki stopped him even though he didn't even get close to him. All this was the effect of Zaraki's Reiatsu, and we cannot talk about Zaraki's Reiatsu without talking about the eye patch he uses. Whenever Zaraki removes it, his Reiatsu increases tremendously. That was clear when Zaraki fought both Ichigo and Noichura. But even with all of that, we were watching just a small part of Zaraki's power, like Ichigo's case. Kopo revealed the truth about the power of Zaraki in the last arc, and during his battle with Yachiru, we knew that Zaraki had a legendary Reiatsu since he was a little boy. And as I said in my previous video, what if Zaraki was Yachiru and Yamato's son, we don't know how a boy of that age could have a Reiatsu that even Yachiru could not match, which made young Zaraki automatically seal his power in order to enjoy his fight against her, and then he continued to do so with every enemy he met until Yachiru untied those seals that were on Zaraki's power, and after that his Reiatsu became on another level. Although in my opinion returning Zaraki's power through fighting Yachiru was not enough to gain full control on such Reiatsu, and we clearly saw this when Zaraki unleashed his Bankai. He couldn't control it, and that's another subject. However, the level of Reiatsu that Zaraki reached was tremendous, and this was evident in his fight against Grimy. And in my personal opinion, the pivot point in that fight was Zaraki's Reiatsu, because no matter how unique Grimy's ability is, and the fact that he can imagine whatever he wants and whoever he wants, in the end his ability to imagine needs Reiatsu, and a great Reiatsu, so he can activate what he imagines on a person like Zaraki. Although Grimmy had imagined several things, but Zaraki's Reiatsu protected him, to the extent that Grimmy in the end, when he wanted to imagine the power of Zaraki itself, his body couldn't bear what he imagined and he was defeated. And here comes the brutality of Zaraki's Reiatsu. And now, who knows how strong Zaraki becomes after the 10 years escape time. Yamato, another Bleach monster that owns a legendary Reiatsu. Perhaps his advanced age and those successive centuries of experience and training made him control his Reiatsu the way he wanted. I can say that Yamato and Aizen are the only two people who have the ability to fully control their Reiatsu so that they beat a certain opponent among several others using only their Reiatsu, not like Zaraki who has the same ability but cannot control it. And we saw how the old man in his first demonstration of his power in front of Kyorako and Okitake managed to paralyze Nanao. One look was enough to shade a certain amount of Reiatsu, which made her completely paralyzed. And the same thing that I said about Ichibe and his Zanpakuto capabilities can be said about the old man and more. We are talking about the strongest offensive Zanpakuto in the Soul Society. To have this ability to make Soul Society a piece of hell with just your Bankai, you need to have a devastating Reiatsu, and maybe Hajfeld's comment on the Zanka no touches fire is a good description of the old man's Reiatsu. Yamato has such a strong Reiatsu that he can turn it into fire that has a temperature of more than 15 million degrees. Which monster can do this using only his Reiatsu? It's Yamamoto and no one else. Ichigo Kurosaki. Some of you may be surprised by Ichigo's second place, but putting Ichigo in this position is because of his legendary technique, Final Getsuga Tensho. And if this technique didn't have a side effect of losing you all of your Shinigami's power as a price to use it, I would have put him in the first place. Because frankly guys, in my personal opinion, Ichigo's development in the Final Getsuga Tensho is the strongest thing the story has ever known in terms of legendary level of Reiatsu. Without the Hokyuku, Aizen Sasuke had a tremendous Reiatsu, and by breaking the Hollow and the Shinigami barrier, he was in another stage of power. And despite that power and the sheer amount of Reiatsu, he couldn't fail Ichigo's Reiatsu in that mode. This is crazy. This is really was crazy. He couldn't sense Ichigo's Reiatsu because it was at another level completely, and that was evident in their last fight. Aizen used his most powerful techniques, but it didn't work because simply Ichigo's powerful Reiatsu was eliminating it. It's true that Ichigo is not a pure Shinigami, but in my personal opinion, the main source of his power is coming from the Shinigami power. And that was clear after the Osan Zangetsu explained how Ichigo's power works, and as I said, I consider Ichigo's Final Getsuga Tensho the most powerful thing when it comes to the Reiatsu. Number 1. Aizen Sasuke. How can Aizen Sasuke not be in the first place when his path in the story was directly linked to the Reiatsu? Aizen Sasuke combined the advantage of being young and possessing such a large amount of Reiatsu as Zaraki, and the experience of the old man in his amazing control over the Reiatsu. It's true that Aizen's lethal ability that scares everyone is the power of his Shikai Kyukasuigitsu, but his Reiatsu was the most powerful factor in everything. What is the point of your ability, of your Shikai, if you are weak? It was the combination of the power of the Reiatsu and his Shikai that gave Aizen that brutal power, and he was able to team the Espada from the strongest to the least powerful. And we noticed how, using only his Reiatsu, he made the 6th Espada kneel. Even during his battle against the Gute 13, Aizen gave us another concept of the Reiatsu and what it can do. When Soifun attacked him using her own Shikai ability, and with that same ability she killed Paragon follower, but when she wanted to do the same thing with Aizen, her ability didn't activate it, simply because Aizen's Reiatsu eliminated Soifun ability. And perhaps gain comments on Aizen while he was raping the captains and the vice captains all together is sufficient and clear evidence of how strong is Aizen in terms of Reiatsu. And when Aizen merged with the Hokyuku, at that time he had reached another level of Reiatsu, and we saw how it affected all those who were close to him. And after the end of his battle against Ichigo and being in the Moken for all those months, it only made him stronger and his Reiatsu increased even more. So I think all of these things made Yhwach rank Aizen among the 5 special weapons because of his Reiatsu. Perhaps the most epic scenes in the last arc of Aizen was his appearance in front of the captains and the vice captains who were suffering with those creatures that came from the leakage of the Soul King power after its observation by Yhwach. Only by using the Reiatsu and the Hado of level 90 without reading the spell, he wiped out all those creatures from the existence, and because of his Reiatsu, he left a hole in the sky. And in a clear demonstration of his power, he talked about his ability to overthrow the royal palace with only his Reiatsu. And so, in my personal opinion, all those things can only tell you that Aizen Sasuke is the most powerful Shinigami in terms of Reiatsu. So guys, what do you think about this list? And if you agree with me, can you add another characters that you think that have a great Reiatsu? And if you are not agree with me, can you tell me your list please? So, see you guys in my next video.